Honestly, my journey as a Nigerian is so integral to who I am today, right? I can remember when I first came in 2016, right? There's one thing I said, and I said, anytime I open up my mouth, I want people to know I'm Nigerian.
It's not easy when you come into a new country and everybody is speaking a different language. Everybody has an accent different from you. Everybody has things different from you. And at the same time, that new environment is telling you that you're not worthy. You don't have sufficient experience. You can't get a job. You can't even get a house or things like that. It has a way of making us lose our self-value and self-image, and has a way of creating depression in people.
My journey from Nigeria to the UK to Canada had basically taught me a lesson, which is just to persevere. And that's one word that is very important to me. And that's one lesson I have learned through that.
I'm proudly Nigerian, and I don't shy away from it. I say it everywhere I go, every workplace I go. And as a Nigerian, I know one thing about us is that we're very hardworking and we're resilient and we don't give up.
One thing I always do when faced with challenges is to learn, to bridge every knowledge gap and to apply myself to every form of learning.
Well, as a Nigerian, it's been initially a difficult road because you're coming into a different country, different culture, different traditions. So it's almost like having to start from kindergarten again, learning all over again. You adapt, I adapt, and I just learn the culture of fellow Canadians, and while I still keep my own culture alive.
When I first moved to Canada, one of the biggest changes was the education system, especially being one of the few Black people in a lot of my classes. And to adjust to that, I really had to hone my public speaking skills a lot more and start speaking up for myself as well as others.
Even though I've never been to Nigeria, my culture as an Igbo woman, as a Nigerian woman, is foundational to my entire existence. And so the ties that I've had back to my Nigerian identity have been ever present throughout my entire life. My parents ensured that we had a strong sense of Nigerian and Igbo pride my whole life. And so everything right through to the food that we ate, the music that we listened to, the language and the love that we had for the culture was baked into my childhood and remains foundational to who I am and the work that I do and the connections that I continue to have with my community.
In my professional path, it's been tough, really, and I guess the spirit of that Nigerianness in me never made me give up at any point.
It's important not to be discouraged by those initial sets of obstacles that are bound to come the way of any newcomer.
The system is saying no to you, not because you are smaller than the system, but actually because you are bigger than the system. And you need to realize that and even aim higher. By shrinking yourself, you're not helping the system. So how it has shaped me is exactly the same story I tell people to say. Understand that you are actually bigger than the system and aim even higher and not lower.
Even if I get no, I still keep going and going until I get a yes. So that's really shaped my professional path because I never give up. I'm resilient, and that has really helped me, of course, with the grace of God.
When I came in here and I was looking for my first job, it was so daunting that I even applied to be a floor man at an automobile workshop, and I was denied that role. But today, as they say, the rest is history. So my experiences have shaped me a lot, but more so understanding that I am bigger than that system.
I went back for the first time last year in 2023, and I came back with all these nice trad outfits, right? And that further enhanced my journey and solidified it because it now made me even want to look more Nigerian, right? Because prior to that, I always loved wearing suits, right? And I still wear suits from time to time now.
Those challenges actually, of course, has everything to do with pigmentation. And it's one of those things that you just deal with it as you go along. When I arrived, I quickly found out that because of my pigmentation, some people just couldn't accept. In fact, some people tells me to go back to where I come from.
The biggest cultural adjustments for me happened at a very young age. I was in elementary school experiencing some extreme racism while living in Edmonton, and that caused me to, at a young age, really become a bit of a fighter, a bit of a person who just wouldn't back down when experiencing adversity.
Right from the airport, I knew something was wrong because my ride-hailing app stopped working. It required a local card for it to function. We finally managed to get out of the airport, get to the hotel that we had booked a reservation with, and the hotel says to us, we cannot honor your reservation because you do not have a credit card on file. So where am I going to sleep? I've got my family with me. I tried to rent a car and it was the same story, you can't rent a car. I tried to quickly go rent a house because I've been speaking with his landlord, and it was the same story, I need to see 6 months of credit history. I'm like, what is going on? At that point, I asked the landlord, where do I get this credit card, credit history? Everybody just throw this credit thing at me. Like, shouldn't it be a good thing that I don't owe?
I would say that the most important lesson that my journey can communicate to other Nigerians in the diaspora is that we have such a beautiful and powerful voice, and that we really need to know the strength of our voice and to honor the strength of our voice.
I'm always very proud of my Nigerian heritage, but I will tell you that the moment that I'm extremely proud of my Nigerian heritage is, for me personally, when I go to court and I have to link my submissions to some of the proverbs that I have learned in Nigeria, and I have found that almost every time it kind of hits the nail on the head. And it makes sense to people, it helps me in navigating through my cases.
I believe we're high achievers. We have Nigerian judges, we have Nigerians in politics, we have successful Nigerian businessmen and women. So I would say we're changing the narrative, and I wouldn't even say we're changing the narrative per se. There's always this negative stereotype, which is not correct, right? So we are trying to say, yeah, leave the negative stereotype. We're Nigerians, we're high achievers, we're hardworking, we're resilient, and we're successful.
Pursue your convictions, pursue your passions with everything you have, with every resources at your disposal. Learn from your mistakes, or get up and keep pushing.
The only way that I could look at this award is to accept it as sort of like a down payment for what Bond expects me to do, because I'm not sure that I have done anything at all for Bond. But if I do receive the award, it would be like I said, a down payment for what is expected of me. Even at my age, I can still perform, and maybe whether it's in the area of encouraging youth, whether it's in the area of speaking on domestic violence and things like that. So it would be sort of like a down payment for me as to what Nigerian diaspora expects me to do.
Our mission is to inspire, to celebrate, and to create a bond that unites us all. Through the Bond Awards, we aim to shine a light on the extraordinary contributions of Nigerians in the diaspora, contributions that you will agree often go unrecognized. These awards are more than just a moment of glory. They are about building a legacy that inspires future generations.